Okay.
Mm-hmm. Brian
I
does.
can do all my cool little transitions and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome, clickers. Brian is
Back to a somewhat normal color.
something's wrong with your mic. It's real quiet.
Ooh. My mic?
That's a little better. I could already hear you moving it. Yeah. Well, it was a weird show. I was concerned about Juan not being here tonight. I thought that might happen, and so we have the night before Christmas, Chubby Bruce all ready to go, but we weren't able to do it. So we'll shoot for next week and try to make that happen. Okay, so JT, tell the clickers your idea for 2022.
All right. I just put up a challenge to say, because I'm always looking for incentive to write songs because that's kind of what I do. So I thought it might be fun to write a song every week next year. So we'd have 52 songs and let the clickers kind of suggest and let the show suggest, each week we'd have a song for the next week based on something that happened or something someone suggested from the week before. And, they're not always going to be masterpiece opuses or symphonies, but there's always something that kind of stands out from every episode that we could probably work into a song of some sort and hopefully, tap into some of the comedy of that and just follow it, just see what happens.
So I was thinking that what we would do is have like a word for each week and then write to that word. But you're suggesting that we maybe get next week's song the previous week.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like
Well, Brian and I had just had a great time this week writing this one. And, I think I'm pretty sure he'd want to collaborate and, and maybe Juan would too, and you and Peaches and Amanda, just everybody could kind of throw in on it, and all of our minds together would come up with something better than me just writing a song on my own. So
okay, all right.
It's an idea. It's an idea.
I like it.
Whose time has come.
It's an idea that's time has come. It's
right.
past due, actually. Well, but you, as I mentioned to you, you're already writing a unique clicker song. You write a new verse for the clickers every week.
A new verse, but that's not like a new song every week. Because it's the same melody, same song, just new verses every week.
Okay. So this would be in addition to what you're already doing.
Yes.
Okay. I like it. So it's just going to be, we're just going to need to remember to add a segment like before the snappy wrap up. What are we going to, and then how do we select it? Do we let the clickers?
I think we decide in the effort party. I think we just collectively decide in the effort party what's the song going to be about next week, because there's usually something that stands out. This week it would either be like Knoxville Tots or Krampus got hosed. There's a couple of song hooks right there.
That's right. Krampus got hosed.
Okay, I love that. So the effort party would be part of the effort party every week would be figuring out what the song is going to be about next week.
Yes, and just so everybody knows too, just so all the clickers know that just because you suggest an idea doesn't necessarily mean it will end up in the song, because I don't want people getting their feelings hurt. I could see somebody saying, "Hey, you should write a song about this," and then a month later we still haven't written a song, and they're like, "I don't want to be a clicker anymore because they didn't write my song."
Little effort party perk.
I suggested explosive diarrhea. And I am
week
still
after
waiting.
week after week.
Exactly. Write my song. I need.
Now, implosive diarrhea, we could write about that.
That we can do.
Wow. That hurts.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we haven't really discussed is the number of ideas that we have that we don't use
I know.
amongst ourselves.
I know. This is. Yeah.
We have various ideas that we don't.
You are
that we don't
correct.
follow.
Yeah, I don't want this to trump other ideas that we've had either. So, maybe 52 songs is too ambitious. Maybe we ought to. We need to have a think tank brainstorm session where we look at all the ideas we've got and put them on some sort of thing that's like a wall chart or something that we can all see all the time, so we can keep each other on task. Because we have had some great ideas, like you said, that we haven't really moved forward on.
No, I mean, to the people who make suggestions, if your suggestion doesn't get used, we have tons and tons of suggestions that we don't use.
Right,
so
right.
Doesn't mean we don't like them. It just means that we.
Exactly.
Right. Sometimes it just would be like a better fit lyrically or a better topic.
Yeah.
Or so.
Right.
I do like Krampus got hosed because it just is so random.
Yeah.
So random and weird.
Yep.
That actually could be another Christmas song for next week.
It could be.
That could be the Christmas song for next week. It's Krampus got hosed.
This is true. This is true.
Everybody knows Krampus got hosed. I don't know if that's a true rhyme or not, but probably not.
Everybody knows Krampus got hosed. No, JT will not let that fly.
No.
I learned that this week. This week. It actually wasn't bad. He only threatened me with physical harm a handful of times. Yeah, it was.
Well, it's Christmas.
Yeah,
he's in a festive
he's
mood.
Very giving. Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
After
no,
the
it was
first
really
of the
fun.
year,
It was really, really fun to collaborate with him on that because we were talking about it. We're like, well, we were gonna go like really weird and like kind of over the top, and I was like, let's just do this for like legit real and make it fun and playful, but still, like a legit Christmas song. And he nailed it. So
that was a blast.
What about making the sheet music available? What about doing a track? Like, what if you do a track? We make that available.
I can do that.
That other people can build on.
Well, they just have they have the track, and then you give them the lyrics.
Yeah,
and they can.
We call them stems in the biz, John. Just so you know.
Call them what?
We call them stems in the biz. Stems.
I'm not going to call them that.
Yes, you need to call them that because you want to sound legit. It's like,
or you can just put like a sample
welcome
TikTok.
To working with JT, John.
Yeah, you can be like, JT's got a folder with all the stems. We want you guys to get in your studios, lay these stems out, and lay your own tracks and send them back in. You know what I'm saying? And then you can sound like you're dope. You sound like you're down with the guys.
Got all the stems.
Got
all the stems to Krampus got hosed.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Well, whatever we're going to call them, I think it would be. And that I also need to get on to our file, into the members file area, because I've been having trouble. People have been having trouble getting into that, and I'm not sure why. I think Google Drive has changed the way that their shared folders work, and so I haven't come up with an alternative. Maybe Dropbox or something like that.
I use Sync. That's a pretty cool site. I used to be on Dropbox, but I've switched over to Sync. It's a pretty good one.
So can you do anything with that? Like, can we do folders of artwork, and obviously we can do music?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll have to look into that. Sync?
Yep, SYNC.
What I liked about the way we had it working before was I could create a portal on the website. So like if you go to the members area, then you could see that portal and get into all those folders. I don't know if Sync works that way or not.
Usually it's just like a link. You can say copy the link to this folder, and then you include it in a correspondence. That's what I've done with you guys before. Just sent you a link to a folder there.
Is that what you use, like, to send over the song today? Okay.
Yeah.
It's weird. What's funny is every time I go to download it on my desktop, this is not even this weird after party talk, but if my scanner flags it for a virus, and then there's no virus Because I do it on my phone. There's nothing there in my phone's thing. So.
Huh.
Yeah, it's very weird. But it's only when I do
Bizarre.
it on my my desktop.
Huh.
Is it stems or stims?
STEMS.
Stems.
Yeah, stems are what you get in a video game to increase your health, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. So I think that'd be fun. I think we should do that. If you can do a stem for that at least for that Christmas song that you guys did,
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool, because then there's the possibility that people could use it. You know, they could do it. They could sing it.
Absolutely. I'm cool with that. I have to ask my collaborator though if he's cool with that.
If he's okay with
Yes.
releasing it.
This was a co-write.
And then I'll figure out a way to actually make it available.
Okay.
Cool. And I love the idea of doing a song every single week if you guys are feeling froggy and you want to do it.
I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah. I'm in.
Krampus got hosed. You can maybe work on that for next week, and then I have a feeling that Knoxville Tots are going to show up somewhere for.
Yep.
So Tabby's here for the after party, but she hasn't watched SKUs, so she has no idea.
I think the Knoxville Tots song needs to be like a front porch banjo style bluegrass thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or just like a Johnny Cash, you know.
There you go. Yeah.
I let up Knoxville Tots.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yep.
So Tabby, I know you didn't see SKUs, but in a fight between a Yule log and a Jelly of the Month and Tiny Tim, who do you think would win? You can just go ahead and put your answer.
And a reindeer.
And a reindeer.
That's
Yeah.
right,
Who do you
that's
think, if those four things were in a battle royal, who do you think would come out on top? Okay, so next week we have to do the. We're gonna try to do Tiny Tim all the way.
All right, what about Krampus versus Tiny Tim?
She's right. That crutch is an advantage. The lame boy has an advantage with his crutch. A duel between Tiny Tim and the leg lamp. I really thought the leg lamp was going to go further. I thought that.
No, it's fragile. Fragile.
It's
Yeah.
fragile, yeah.
JT, your comment went to the private chat. I think you're talking to the King sisters. You'd like a brass trio arrangement.
Oh yeah. I'd love to hear a brass trio arrangement by the King sisters. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, we could make a brass trio arrangement. Yeah, but the stems idea is really good. If you guys are willing to. Do you see how I just threw that term in like I've been using it my whole life?
Yeah,
Noticed.
you're keeping it real, man. You're keeping it in the studio.
Do you have your IPI, John? Do you have your IPI?
Mm-hmm. That's a beer, isn't it? Isn't that a beer?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's an IPA.
Shoot.
What?
No, I had to be like, what's an IPI?
Isn't it PBR?
What was Sherry's
that's Pabst Blue Ribbon, yeah.
What was Sherry's idea about the snappy wrap up? She said, "Did you read that idea?" I don't know what that is.
Mm.
What was her idea?
What was it?
Did anybody see that?
wrap-up.
Sherry said she had an idea about the snappy wrap up.
No.
Nope.
I wonder where that was. I have to
We
back
need
up
some
here and
ideas
see.
for the snappy wrap up.
Ugh.
Maybe it's time to do something else for the wrap up. Can we talk about that? Is it time to retire the snappy wrap up in
What do we do?
2022 and do something else?
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
The not so snappy wrap up, and we'll do credits throughout the whole course of the show.
The segment formerly known as the snappy wrap up.
I randomly, in the middle of the show, I'll jump in and just be like, okay, you have to read some credits right now.
Oh, there it is. I found it.
The time
And then it
release-
Then
the
it just
time
ends
release
abruptly.
wrap-up.
Yeah. I saw Sherry's idea there. It's about
This one?
that's the one.
Just found it.
A
Yeah.
big wheel with different. Yeah,
Well-
actually, that was sort of what we had behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's one idea, but unfortunately, I need the ideas for the idea wheel. That's what I'm saying. I have a problem when I don't think about it ahead of time.
What if we do
And a
something?
lot of times I want it to be related to the show, and then I won't know what any of those would be until we do the show.
What if we do something similar to the insult generator thing that we did before, where we have a bunch of ideas and then it just randomly slams them together?
Yeah, snappy wrap-up generator.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
That
I
would
love
work.
it. Yeah, that's a
Snappy
great
wrap-up
It
idea.
could be like
generator.
voice. It could be music.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And it could randomize everything. It could randomize who does it and and how they do it.
Yeah.
There you go. Love it.
So what would the categories be? It would have to be obviously person, the
Name.
person,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
style,
style, reads it like, and then the subject, like name, subject, and style.
Right.
So
Yeah.
talks about
Yeah.
traffic, in the style of Kermit the Frog or something like
right.
There you go. Yep.
that. So
Yeah, so some weeks people are doing impressions when they don't do impressions. Some weeks people are singing when they don't sing.
right.
Mhm.
And depending on who the character is, like if you're doing it in the style of
Right.
Jimmy Buffett or whatever, then it's gonna obviously be a musical one. So
Yep. Yep.
John
I like
Brandon
it.
singing.
That's a great idea.
I like it. And then we just hit we just hit it and
And then when
generate one.
when someone's not there, we'll just figure it out.
Then we call them.
Yeah. Hey, John, I know you're performing to like 5,000 people right now, but
His phone rings. All right, go.
we need you to go on a monologue about mint jelly in the style of
Exactly.
Britney Spears.
There you
Exactly.
go.
Yeah. With an English accent and
Yes.
chewing gum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be. That's another thing that we could take different ideas from the clickers too. If you've got an idea for a voice or a style that you want to add to our random snappy wrap-up generator.
Yep.
Now I got to
One
make a
can
note
be,
about that.
one can be like a performer's choice or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Is there a way that we can have it so potentially all four? We can have multiple people doing the snap up. So we
Well,
can
Yes.
do that out.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it happens to be one that would be better, conducive to more than one person, I will not hesitate to jump in there and say, "Oh, and someone else is gonna do this one too."
Well, I guess also one of the blocks could be like John and Brian, or John and JT, John and Juan.
How many different
Yeah.
permutations of that? Is that what that's called? How many
16.
different combinations would there be when you have 4 people?
It'd be 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, right?
I think it's more than 16.
That is more than 16. 4
I
times
think
4
because
is
it could be either of
16
you.
times 4.
I think it's 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, isn't it?
That's what I
Well,
said.
then there's the 3. You could have 3 people too.
Ooh, that's even more.
Oh, wait, is it 4 times 3 times 2 times 1?
It's 1
Is
plus
that how
2
you
plus
do
1
it?
plus 1, not 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1.
I don't remember.
Here's another song getting ready to happen.
It is not
Julia
just
says
16.
Is it? 4 times 3 plus 2 plus 1.
Because it would be 16 if you were doing different combinations of 2.
Of 2, right.
But you can also have 3 or all 4 of you. All 4 would just be one option. So that's why I think it's 4 times
Well,
3
some
times
of
2
them-
times 1.
Some of them would be the same. Some of them would be the same. Like if it was you and me and me and Brian and me and JT, then it
Yeah.
would be the same when it
I
was
think
like
it's 24.
Right.
you and me.
Right.
Right.
So
Right,
John and
12
Brian is the
times
same
2
as
is
Brian
24.
and John.
I think it's 24.
I think we're in math class.
I think that's why you have to take 1 away each time. 4 times 3 times 2 times 1.
For our season,
There has
2
to be a
wrap
clicker
up
that's-
year in review. Can we have a skewed math?
Jeff says it's 64.
Tabby?
Is it
I think
that
it's
many?
24. I think it's 24.
There
Tabby,
has to
can
be
you-
a clicker who knows
You
math that's
have-
probably screaming at us right now.
All of you single, that's 1. And then if it's you with JT or you with Brian or you with Juan, that's 3 for you.
Right.
Yeah.
But then JT, when we do his, he can only the only one we haven't
I'll
already
be
mentioned
back when you
is
guys
him
figure
with
this out.
Juan and him with Brian. Or
Tabby, do a
7,
timestamp.
8, 9,
and a date stamp.
10. Now
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That it's like you
Rachel
and
thinks
me.
it's 24.
You and me is the same as me and you.
I know. That's why it's not 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, because that would be, you'd have repeat combinations. Right. But that's, I think it's 24. That's what I think.
I think that's too many.
All right, I'm going to count them out.
And then you have this 3.
Mine
this
too,
3,
Pat and Gayla.
This 3, this 3.
I think it's 4.
So that'd be 4.
I think it's 12.
I'm just going to write them all out.
Yeah, just do it on an Excel sheet right now, and we'll figure it
So
out.
speaking of knives.
Oh, there she goes. Okay. Okay.
Speaking of knives, I'd like to tell you a little story.
Okay.
That's the tagline in my youth group whenever somebody wants to change the subject, because we got this kid in my youth group named Martin. And one day it was just so funny. We were talking about something, and then out of the blue, he goes, "Okay, so speaking of knives, I was going to tell you guys about this knife I got the other day." So it's like we weren't talking about knives, and so now that's like whenever somebody wants to change the subject, they just go, "So speaking of knives."
Speaking of knives, yeah.
Tabby, so Joe says 12 if you're only drawing 2 names, but we're not, because it could be 3 or it could be 4, all 4.
Yeah,
that's pretty. So it's 13? Joe says 12 if you're only drawing 2 names. That's what I said. I said 12.
But you can also have groups of 3 and one group of all 4 of you.
Inchworm.
Yes.
Well, if you do
1 and 1 are 2, 2 and 2 are 4.
Let's just never do groups of 3.
4
How about
are
that?
16, 16 and 16 are 32.
Inchworm.
But there's only 3 groups of 3, right? There's only 3 different groups of 3. Right? So that would be 4. 12. So that's going to be 16. If we do that.
I was lost
Anyway.
a long time ago.
I don't care. I don't care about this at all.
See, this goes perfectly with the beginning of the show when I was like, "We know what you know or don't know."
Right.
You don't know, but we know that you don't know.
That's right. We got to do a song about that too. We got to do a song about you don't know.
I got to start writing down the song ideas now.
I know that I know what I know, or I don't know what I don't know, but I do know what you don't know.
Yes.
And neither one of us know what we don't know, but we both know what each other doesn't know.
Exactly.
And how many groups of
that one you could do in the style of "It's the End of the World as We Know It" by REM.
Yes.
I don't know what you don't know, and I don't know it. You don't know what you don't know, and you won't know it.
None of us know. None of us don't know what we know. Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. It starts with a sound check.
I had what was it? There was a phrase that somebody used. Oh, easier said than done. Somebody said easier said than done.
Isn't that everything though?
Yes, and that was that started me on a riff.
Yes,
and I was like, yeah, that's true of everything that there is.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, but people always say it like they're revealing some really helpful insight that you hadn't thought. Well, that's easier. I was saying that you should try to control your temper rather than just going off on people. Well, it's easier said than done. It's like, well, no kidding. You know, it's easier. It's easier to say I'm flying to the moon than it is to actually fly to the moon.
Yeah.
And who would have thought that? Who would have known that?
Who would have known?
All right, so we have to figure out what is actually easier done than said.
Right.
So
right.
That's what I want to know now. Okay.
I couldn't think of anything, but I tried.
Yeah. Anything in another language. Because if you don't speak a language, you have to do it. You have to pantomime in order to do it because you can't say it in their language.
So breaking an egg, it's easier to break an egg than it is to say breaking an egg in Swahili.
Right, because you don't know how to speak the language. Yep. Or it's easier to point and like cross your legs and be like, than to say, "Where's the bathroom?" It's easier to because you don't know how to speak the language, so you would have to pantomime.
Oh, okay.
It's easier to.
But I want to find something in English because there has to be something.
Something in our language that's easier to do than to actually say.
But then by default, you cannot say it on the show. You won't be able to give an example here on the show. You would have to do it in front of us right now.
Right.
You know?
Right.
You would if it's easier to do than say, you can't say it now.
There are some things that are equally easy to do and to say, like thumb in the eye. Thumb in my ear. I mean, that wasn't particularly hard to do or say. But
okay, but Joe, here's the thing though. I was saying this. We're
still talking about this.
But I can only find 14 combinations, Joe, because John and JT is the same as JT and John, which I think there's a way to do that too.
Mathematically, they're not considered the same thing. You know,
right.
That's why you're.
But I have found
JT and John are different than John and JT. But
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, at least 14 unique combinations. 14. Mm-hmm. So.
Hey, Monty King has. I think that's a good answer.
What'd he
say? Explaining where something is versus pointing at it.
Ooh.
Right, but that's why I'm saying you have to do it on the show.
That's easier done than said.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's easier to point than it is to say it's over on the mantle.
Yeah.
Right.
Or what if I got in my pocket?
Or like if you are really annoyed with your spouse.
Bears, they're cheating. I can't do it.
It's easier to just go.
That's what you.
Yeah.
Than to say anything. I can't say that.
Yeah, but why are you?
I said
it's easier to make a face than it is to explain the rationale behind the face.
Right. If you're annoyed with somebody or you're confused, it's easier to go.
Well,
than
maybe
to say
for
something.
You. I can't think of those places. So it's way harder for me.
True.
I'm very disappointed in you. You can't tell, but I am.
I asked my sons to make a manly face yesterday and sent my dad the result because they were trying on their Christmas tuxedos. They're not tuxedos, they're just suits, but they were trying them on.
I just killed a fruit fly.
That was good.
I thought it was a mosquito.
I feel like a Xena warrior princess when we've got fruit flies in the house.
Yeah.
I can snap them right out of the air.
They're crafty little fellers.
But yeah, I told my boys to make a manly face, and they were both like,
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to see it here, but
oh, that's not the manly face. That's the silly face, I think.
Oh, is it? I don't think it is. It's kind of blurry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not really.
Or can you see it? Okay.
It's not coming through. No.
It looks like
it doesn't matter how close I get.
It's like we're watching a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's not working.
I can't get it.
Oh my!
They look pretty dapper.
That's not the manly face, though.
It's funny that Luke and Colin went hunting. I'm looking at this picture too, which you won't be able to see, but it's Luke and Colin.
There you go.
There you go. That's better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look how manly he looks.
Silas doesn't look quite as manly. He looks a little.
Colin's like.
So they went out and got in the deer stand, and they were getting ready for that today. And Colin was pretty jazzed about it. And we got a picture of the two of them sitting up in the deer stand, and the caption underneath it was, "This is kind of boring." Which I assume was Colin. We lost JT.
Yeah, he's gone. Oh, wait, he's back.
We lost Knoxville Tots.
Oops.
So, okay. So we've finally figured out how many different combinations of snappy wrap-up people there are. And
14.
I feel like that is
14.
I feel like that's the most important thing that we needed to accomplish.
Thank the Lord.
Next
But
week
if we add a fifth person, like if we have Tabby in here, that changes it radically. I remember this from math class. If you put a fifth option in there, it goes from 14 to like 400 or something like that. Not quite that many, but.
Well, let's spend 30 minutes figuring out exactly how many. There she goes. I don't want to wait for that.
I think if we have a guest, it should either be all or like with one other.
Yeah.
We'll just keep it simple that way.
Are we going to have any guests anytime soon?
Well, I've reached out to a few people, but yeah, if I haven't followed up. But we could get, I'm pretty sure we could get Tim Hawkins. I'm pretty sure Brant Hansen would come back. I know that Jim Hope would come back, and he's always a blast. And Hans Feeney is always fun, and he'd come back. And then who else? We had somebody ask about Randy Stonehill, and I reached out to him and haven't heard back from him. I think he's avoiding me.
Do you know Brad Stein?
I know Brad Stein.
Okay. I'm doing a show with him on New Year's. So.
Are you?
Oh.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Well,
how do you know Brad Stein?
I don't. So I'm just through another friend of mine who's organizing the event. I was like, "You want to open for Brad Stein?" I was like, "Sure."
Oh, you're doing a live show with Brad. Yeah. Okay. Well, tell him that he needs to come on this show.
All right.
I'm serious.
Yeah, he knows. He knows us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he does.
Perfect.
So if you mention my name, he will know who you're talking about. And tell him he's not better than us. Tell him he's not.
Tell him he needs to come on the show, and that we'll hate him if he doesn't, and that
and he's not better than us.
He's not better than us.
And he needs to put a helmet on, and
wear a helmet.
Yep. Mm-hmm. There you go. Chef's right.
Gary Varvel. Somebody says Jasmine, of course.
Jasmine, we can get to come back on. Yeah.
David Pendleton hasn't been on for a while.
Hijack wants to see Gary Varvel. We could have him come on and do a.
If we get Dave Pendleton to come back, I should get my friend again to come and do another routine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about Gary just because I'm not sure if we'll be able to top the anniversary special where he came on misunderstanding the directions. And he goes, "Oh, I'm supposed to have a drawing of it now. I'll be right back."
He disappears.
He goes out the screen, runs to get some paper
with the most horrific drawing that he obviously just.
It's like this beefy arm.
Yeah, with a tattoo on it.
Yep. Pete Heck.
We got 2 requests for Pete Heck.
He's gettable.
He's gettable.
I haven't talked to Pete in a while.
Pete is ascending the ranks. He's a big deal at Not the Bee now. And
Pete needs to be told he's not better than us too. Call
Pete's
Pete.
Not better than us.
Tell him he's not better than us.
I will. That's generally how I contact Pete.
I actually have
send him a text and I say, if you ignore me, I will drive to your house and break out your porch light. Don't you?
I actually have his number too. And so when we were doing Valentine's of Palooza, there were times where I would have to I'd text him once and wait a few days and not hear back. So I'd have to text him again. And those were some of the conversations. Not quite on that level. Mm-hmm. But I'd be like, is it because you don't like my dad?
And he would probably say yes. That's a big part.
I didn't want to say anything, but yes.
Rachel says 31 for 5 people, but the problem is we don't always have 5 people, and if it's random, then it might pull one from the 5.
True.
I will just say right now, if you guys think that I am going to put this much effort into the math in order to build that stupid snappy wrap-up generator, you're crazy.
I enjoy it now. Now that I understand math better than I did when I was in school, I'm teaching it now and I understand it better. So
I thought you were going to say earlier the effort party is beginning the effort party because we were all confused.
Right, but the logic. Yeah, the logic is going to be because I'll do it on a spreadsheet. Because I don't have the programming skills to do it in another language, and so it'll be really simple. And if we decide to do more than one, then what we'll probably do is just manually say, okay, it's going to be Brian and then we'll pick another.
Oh, that's a thing that we have, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Google.
You should have just said that you figured it out.
Yeah.
You should have. We wouldn't have known.
I just sat there while you guys were running numbers, and I'm like, I had that Homer Simpson thing where he's talking to the teacher, and she's like, da da da, and he's like,
I pulled up a sticky note on my laptop and literally listed all of your names and then combined them as many ways as I could.
Gosh.
That's
How
all
I
heard.
did it.
Blah, 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 blah. And I was like,
Hijack wants an ugly sweater contest.
That's good.
Can we do an ugly sweater contest?
I don't have an ugly sweater. I'm gonna have to find
All of Brian's sweaters are beautiful.
That's right. I support that.
I support
They're all
beautiful
strong,
He's
independent
strong, fierce.
sweaters.
Fierce.
That's right.
Guys, I was seriously weirded out by how well Juan did with that. He was like channeling his inner white lady. You are important. You are brave and
I'll see if I can find an ugly sweater, but if I do, it's gonna be a cool one.
Get one.
you can buy them now, but that's
Yeah.
not
Also,
as good as
you
vintage.
can also Photoshop your face onto an ugly sweater, and
That will make it pretty.
Ooh.
Yes, right. That's right.
That'll make it a pretty sweater.
Do you have Goodwill? Do you have Goodwill stores out in California?
Mhm.
There you go. There's an ugly sweater waiting for you there. I guarantee it.
you got to pull out the glue gun and the garland, though, Brian.
No,
That's what-
I think that's cheating.
You think that you need to be able to find an ugly sweater off the shelf?
Vintage.
You can't bedazzle it.
No, if you're attaching items to it, it needs to be one your mom would have worn unironically 30 years ago.
So
Oh,
well,
gosh.
then it's not really an ugly sweater contest. It's kind of a scavenger hunt at that point, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's a contest to see how well you are able to find an ugly sweater.
Right. It's a scavenger hunt.
So can I tell a quick story about the ugly sweater? Go with the story salad here. So I was doing a show in Massachusetts when I started out a few years in, and I was with one of the other comics. I was the opener. He was the feature, and we were just sitting around, shooting a breeze. And this lady walks by, and she has an ugly Christmas sweater. And he goes, "Look at that lady. I bet she wears that sweater year round." And I turned and I said, "Dude, that's my mom." Because it was really my mother. And he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "No, it's fine. She does wear it year round. It's cool." It was just funny. He was just like, "Look at that lady. I bet she wears that sweater year round." And I was
That's
like,
great.
It was my mom. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
I'll bet she wears it all year round.
I'm like, "Dude, that's my mom."
Look at that lady.
Mhm.
That's great.
Oh man.
Well, I don't know how we would do it. I suppose we could wear ugly sweaters. The other thing we could do is have people send in pictures of themselves in ugly sweaters, and we could have
Yes.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah. So send in your pictures to skews@johnbranion.com, right? Is that the email address?
right. Well, this is only going to the clickers, but if we want to make it exclusive to the clickers, then we could do that.
Sure.
But yeah, if
Well, if there's a way to reach the audience, other people who
Yeah.
don't much.
send your ugly sweaters in, and then we vote, have some sort of a.
Or we just celebrate.
Or we just celebrate.
We just
Sure.
celebrate.
Why does everything have to be a competition?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't we just feel happy for each other?
We could just
If
make.
Juan was there,
just
he'd be like, "No, we're having a competition.
Yeah. We can just make fun of everybody.
We're all winners."
Everyone wins
Everyone
in an
wins.
ugly sweater parade.
I just thought of another story about snow.
Right?
Okay?
Chad, do you remember 2 Halloweens ago when Tabby was big pregnant with
Yes.
Simon?
Yes. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh, it's Halloween night, October 31st. And it's so windy and so cold that ice starts falling from the sky. So the whole city of Kokomo cancels their trick or treat, just cancels it.
Except
Except for the local megachurch that had rented out the event center. Oh my gosh. And so we're going over to do like indoor trunk or treat at the event center, like everybody else in Kokomo,
Right.
because it was the only trunk or treat that was still available. And then this church also has a Peru campus, which is a little city like 30 miles away or something like that. And people came from Peru too to this outdoor or indoor event. So when we pull into the parking lot, we can't even get close to the building. Like we end up parking. Oh goodness, I don't even know for reference how to explain it. Probably a football field away from the building. And we're like, okay, we have to get over there. I have a double stroller. All 4 of my kids. Tabby has Marcy, who is a toddler.
A double stroller. I mean, unless you've actually pushed a double stroller, unless you've actually tried to maneuver a double stroller that's loaded up with children and the various items that a child needs, it's a challenge.
Yes.
When it's dry.
I was dressed as super mom, so I had an S on my chest and like a cape. I opened the van door and the wind takes the door, like yanks it out of my hand. And I'm like, oh no. And I step into a slushy ice puddle immediately. And I'm like, brr. And then the wind grabs the S off my chest, yanks it off and throws it. And it like sails off into a ditch immediately. Just takes a straight beeline for the ditch. There goes my S. And I'm like yelling at my husband, like, can you get the baby? But he can't hear me because the wind is taking my voice the same way it took the S. And so he's doing it, but I'm like laughing and kind of crying a little bit too. And and I'm trying to get the stroller out, and then it's
so cold.
I put Emery on the back of it and I start to go, but there's cars coming from both directions. Everybody's looking for a parking spot, and I'm yelling at my kids, get out of the way, there's cars. And I go to push the stroller, and Emery, I think it's JT. No, it's not. It's Dad. I'm muting Dad because Mom's vacuuming. I'm gonna mute Dad because this is a very important story. So I'm pushing Emery, and she falls off the back and lands in an ice puddle while I'm walking across. And in the meantime, my son Colin, his costume's a little big, and so his pants fall around his ankles, but he's got his trick-or-treat bucket and something else in his other hand. And he yells, he's standing in the middle of the parking lot with his pants in his ankles, and he yells, I can't pull my pants up. So I've got the baby in a puddle, and Colin's a little ways ahead with his pants in his ankles, and Tabby, who's pregnant, is next to me, and she yells, I'm gonna pee my pants, because she's laughing so hard. We have like tears coming out of our eyes. So we finally make it to the building, and we think, okay, we've made it. But the line goes outside the building and wraps around. And so we had to stand out in this like icy snow for, I don't know, 20 minutes probably with these babies in their costumes. And so by the time we get inside the building, Tabby's hair is like frosted over. And Luke took a picture of her. She's got like snowflakes on her eyelashes.
I was going to say, wasn't it eyelashes and everything had like icicles on it?
It gives new meaning to the favorite thing song, Snowflakes That Stay on My Nose and Eyelashes.
Oh, it was so cold and miserable. But yeah.
Funny.
And snowy.
I had this wasn't snow related, but I had your brother Tim when he was really young, like 3-ish probably, and a little older than Simon. And he was always a kid who was difficult. I mean, he would just dart and run around and do things. And so we were going through the parking lot on the way into rural King, and on the way out, it started to rain. And I don't mean rain like rain hard. I mean sheets of rain. It looked like the sky and all of the air was gray. There was that much water coming down. And I looked at Tim and I said, you want to run to the car, buddy? And he goes, okay. And so we decided we were going to run to the car. We knew we were going to get soaked, but it was fun. And so we took off running. And Timothy and I are running along like this. And he, for some reason, cuts in front of me. He just cuts in front of me. And I kicked his foot as it was on the way. So his foot goes flying out from under him. And he goes and lands in the parking lot face first and then slides. There was so much water in the parking lot. He was like sliding along and there was a fantail of water coming up behind him. And I reached down and grabbed him by the shirt and pulled him as I was continuing to run. And he's yelling, "Why did you trip me?" As we went to the car.
Oh my gosh.
I said, "I didn't trip you. You ran in front of me."
You remember Bonnie's story about falling in the rain at what, Cedar Point or Kings Island or
that
something?
Was in Indiana Beach.
Indiana
Beach crash.
Because it was in the 90s when girls used to wear those platform sandals. And so she was running in the rain with her friend, and they crashed headlong into another group of people running in the other direction. And Bonnie said she went flat on her face, and her feet came up behind her, and her shoes
flew
off.
Of her.
Her shoes went in front of her where she was running.
Oh, great.
She literally was knocked out of her shoes.
Oh my gosh.
And that was the thing. It took her forever to even tell that story because they were both laughing so hard when they got back to our group that they couldn't even tell us what was going on.
Oh my gosh.
So I need a tutorial. Like when we're doing the after party, how do you comment in the regular comment section? I can type in the private chat, but I can't type in the comments.
Yeah, you can.
No,
you
only we can if he's not on the stream.
Hmm?
You would have to get the link from the members only page.
Oh, okay. So I'd have to open up a separate window.
Or like a separate tab. But yeah.
Oh, I see. He doesn't see the comments the way we do?
He can see them, but he can't
comment. I can't comment. I can only comment in the private chat. Yeah, because I tried to comment earlier and Amanda said I was in the private chat.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I switched over to the normal comments and I can see everybody's comments. I just can't respond to them all in real time.
Right, because it's a secret.
Yeah.
Live stream.
Secret.
All right. So
only we can.
I'll have to get that.
Only we can comment. See, like we can.
No, only you can because it's you. It looks like it's you. Actually, I can comment as Brian if I want to.
I can comment, JT.
Like
there.
Well.
I sent that.
Okay. La-di-da.
Yeah, we got us a regular old Bill Shakespeare there.
I can do what you can't do. I don't know. I know what you don't know.
Okay.
All right. It was fun. Next week we'll do another song. Hopefully we'll do the night before Christmas. We'll do Santa battles. We'll show any ugly sweaters that you want to send us. Any ugly sweaters that you send us, we will showcase. And it will not be a contest. I thought it was going to be a contest, but it turns out that was reckless and irresponsible of me to turn it into a contest. And I apologize. Or Brian will apologize for. And there's a possibility I'm sorry. Is that the Incredible Hulk?
Yes, it is. And I'm stunned that you don't know that. Okay? So here is a safe space for everyone. If they want to come in with their ugly sweaters, then that should be good enough. We have enough judgment in this world to not have to sit and listen to you liking my sweater, because my sweater is beautiful, it is wonderful, and it goes well with a peach Bellini. It is amazing. And you, John Brannion, should be ashamed of yourself for not being inclusive in all the types of sweaters. There are so many sweaters out there that could use a good home. And by you judging them, you're going to encourage people to not watch or get those sweaters, and then they will live cold, meaningless lives in a Goodwill storage center somewhere. I can't even think where. It's just so sad. So that's why we're making this a parade and not a contest. And I expect better from you, John Brandon. So I want to see your best next week and no more of this negativity.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that qualifies as an apology, but okay.
Oh no, that was just.
That's a different definition of apology than what I'm used to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't do that properly.
I'm going to end this broadcast.
All right. Thanks for joining us this week, you guys. We'll see you next week.